So, what will be the mawquf of that particular issue, Prof?
Again, this is how you look at whether you want to be innovative or not. Whether you look at land per se or you look
itulah,
at beneficial
manfaat.
interest
Itu
or
betul.
manfaat. Yes.
Yeah.
Just like, for example, in Malaysia, in Penang,
Yeah.
so what they have done is that they have developed housing and commercial projects.
Housing and commercial, yeah.
Okay, quite similar to Singapore model.
Yeah,
Quite
yeah.
similar. So what they did was in Penang, they worked with another entity, big government entity, who is a developer. So this government entity, together with the Waqf authorities, they developed this Waqf land.
Oh, combination of the Waqf institutions and the private.
Yes, because the Waqf authority does not have expertise in property development.
Okay,
So they
yeah,
work
betul.
with property development.
Yeah,
So the financing comes from the property
property
development.
development. Yeah.
So they develop this property, and property comprises of shop lots, commercial,
lots.
plus housing.
Plus housing.
Yes, residential housing.
Okay.
Okay.
Apartment, things like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yes. So the question is, people, unlike in the case of Singapore, Singapore is based on lease of short-term lease.
Yeah, yeah.
But here people want to buy that property. So the question is,
Oh.
can you buy that property? You can buy
Cannot,
that,
right?
Okay, you cannot.
Cannot.
But can you buy manfaat?
Manfaatkan.
Okay, so this is the example, innovation.
Yeah.
So
Same like Singapore. Singapore, the tenant will buy the manfaat, right, for 99 years.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So but what they do is that because they issue sukuk, they want to secure the sukuk part, the financing part. Okay, here is the financing is by the developer.
The developer. Oh, okay.
So what is done in this particular case? Individual sign with the Waqf authority
Yeah.
to buy so-called buy the leasehold.
Leasehold, yeah.
Yes,
For how
the
many
property.
years?
For example, for 90 years or
90
99
years.
years.
Yeah.
99 years. So they will stay there for 99 years.
yeah.
Okay. There are, of course, other issues that need to address. For example, what happens if the person defaults, cannot pay?
Right, right.
Okay. For example, I mean, there
Yeah,
are certain
yeah.
issues, but I think those things can be easily resolved. Not
Yeah.
easily, but I mean, can be resolved. And
Yeah,
now it's being done to resolve. So normally, typically, if you want to develop Waqf property,
Yeah.
I mean, there is limitation in terms of funding. Funding is a big
Betul,
issue.
betul.
Okay, funding is a big issue.
But it doesn't have to be coming from the cash Waqf, right?
Yes, even cash Waqf, because if you have lots of land,
Betul.
it's not possible for you to develop everything
Yeah,
with
it's-
sufficient funding.
Right,
So
right.
you need to get funding from a third
Commercial,
party, commercial funding. So if you want to get commercial funding, you have to look in terms of how do you pay that.
Payback, yeah.
Yeah. So in the case of this property development, the payback is through individuals who buy the leasehold for 99 years.
Oh, yeah.
Buy leasehold. So in this way, the developer develop using their fund, and then to pay to the developer, the Waqf authority as the owner of the land.
Yeah.
Okay, they sell the rights to stay for 99 years.
For the tenant,
Yeah, the tenant.
And
So
the
tenant
tenant,
get bank financing.
get back financing.
Get bank financing from the bank
Okay.
for the 99 years.
Oh, so pay at once.
Yeah, because the property is completed.
Oh.
You know, so you
Yeah,
have to.
yeah.
So how do you pay? So individual, will go to the bank, get financing, but it is a bit tricky because this one is not a normal property; it's a Waqf property.
Yeah.
So the bank must also, knows how to handle.
Yeah.
Waqf property.
Because here is impossible. Bank cannot finance the Waqf assets.
In Malaysia, yes.
But your suggestion is that bank has to give financing to the
Yes.
people
To the people,
developing.
Yes. Okay. So
okay.
this is the innovation part.
Yeah, but we have to, the regulation must be revised in order to allow financing to be given to individual, right?
I don't think regulation is required changes here because individuals are buying the leasehold, the right to live, the manfaat.
Oh,
Because you can
Right,
sell
right.
the most Waqf property is that by istibdal, you can replace.
yeah.
Okay, but here the development. So I think one of the challenges in many countries in terms of Waqf is the funding of Waqf assets,
Betul.
Waqf land.
Yeah.
So you need to think that many people wants to give Waqf now, especially
Right.
as people are more aware of importance of Waqf.
Yeah.
So before they die, they want to give Waqf.
Yeah.
But then the question is that, do you accept all wakaf that people give?
Well, it depends. It depends on the capacity by the Nazir. If, let's say, the people is giving the cash wakaf, whereas in the Nazir is the expertise is on the property development, they might not be suitable with the expertise. They may suggest to other Nazir.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if nobody wants to accept, that's a question. Because sometimes the wakaf land, for example, we talk about land, land may not be in a good location.
Right.
May not be even feasible for development.
Right.
For example.
Right.
So the question is, do you still accept wakaf or not? That's something to ponder.
Yeah, but that case happens in many cases in Indonesia, Prof. Yeah. And one of the suggestions to the Nazir, not to accept, not to accept, unless macam ini, Prof. Unless the donors, they sell the land first, and they get the money.
Yes, what you're doing now is converting the tangible real
Yes.
estate into cash wakaf.
Cash, yeah.
Okay.
Cash, and then the cash wakaf can be given to the
Yes.
Nazir.
Yes, and this is the issue. If sometimes some people want to give the land rather than the hassle of selling the land,
Yeah.
they want to give the land. Okay, that's. But anyway, putting that aside, I think the fact that we have allowed or we have accepted the idea of cash wakaf,
Yeah.
it really helps. And by extension, from cash wakaf, we have the corporate wakaf.
Corporate wakaf. Yeah.
So that helps, to further develop wakaf.
So, Prof, if we talk about the corporate wakaf, when we talk about the corporate wakaf, we talk about the shares, right? And shares is an instrument within the Islamic capital market, right? Capital market, yeah. So, what do you think if, let's say, the wakaf institutions, when they want to secure the helps to the society, regular helps to the society, this wakaf institution will buy the Islamic shares. Let's say, somehow I look at the Dow Jones Islamic Index. What are the big company within the Dow Jones Islamic Index? And if I'm not mistaken, I found that Microsoft is one of the shares which is included in the Dow Jones Islamic Index. Can this wakaf institution buy shares, Microsoft shares in the secondary market, and then treat it as a wakaf? So that when the Microsoft, everybody use Microsoft Office.
Yes.
So I believe this company is a very good company. They pay dividend, and so the regular dividend will be obtained by this wakaf institution for the social purposes. How do you see that issue?
Yeah, I mean, the analogy is that if you look at the foundations, the Harvard,
Right.
Harvard, and so they do similar thing. Apart from buying real estate,
Yeah,
they also buy shares.
shares.
The return from those shares, the dividends are used for
Yeah.
whatever, to fund research,
Yeah,
and so on.
because they cannot sell, right, the shares.
Yeah. So similarly, you can sell through IPSID dollar. Meaning
Oh.
that, okay. So,
Yeah,
so in the
IPSID
sense that the cash wakaf that is being collected, or
Yeah.
you then invest in shares. For example, in the Dow Jones Islamic Index.
Yeah.
But one thing you have to bear in mind that you need to do cleansing, the purification.
Cleansing, yeah.
The cleansing part. I mean, that's one small component. But again, you should buy shares, and then those returns are used to support the various activities, various.
As long as it is within the Islamic index,
yes,
it's okay, right?
yes, Shariah compliant.
Yeah.
So and then you can also, to be more innovative, if somebody already owns shares, they can even give as temporary wakaf to the wakaf body.
But it has to be within the Islamic
Yeah,
index.
of course, within the Islamic
Temporary,
index.
yeah?
Yes.
Oh, very good, yeah.
So just give, okay.
For
I don't
5
yes, whatever number.
For
of
5 years and then return back.
Yes.
But the problem may be about the different price when they give and then when they return back. If the different price is, if it is higher, then it's okay. But if it is lower, then can the Nazir maintain the principle, which is the price? This is the price. Yeah.
You're right, but if you look at stock market over
Yeah.
long term has always been on the upward trend. Long term, not saying about the short term, but long term has always been,
Yeah.
it's
Increasing.
on the, increasing.
Yeah, just like the way approached by the Warren Buffett. Yeah, he only buy the good shares, so they just take the dividend.
Yeah, buy and hold.
Yeah, buy and hold.
Yes.
Yeah, just like wakaf. Buy and hold. Oh, very good. Yeah.
So I think this model is that it encourages more people to give wakaf.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that people who have shares, people who have money. You can even create what I see as you create a wakaf fund and then you demonetize it, make it in smaller components.
Make it smaller component.
You create funds of funds.
Okay. Can you elaborate on that?
For example, you create a wakaf fund.
Yeah.
Okay, that fund may be $100 million,
right?
For example, and you will invest in
various kind of
But you allow people to buy in smaller. So I want to give wakaf, but I cannot afford to pay $1,000, but I can give $100. So you create a fund just purely for the wakaf.
Because individual capacity is different, right?
Yes. And then the fund is then managed by professionals who will be then investing.
Oh, okay. Okay, last questions. Maybe two last questions. We have discussed about the various kind of collaborations with Waqf, and I see that the connection or the collaboration Waqf is more towards Islamic capital market, Prof, rather than banking, takaful. Because I learned about the Waqf and unit trust in Malaysia, like Kenanga, right? And I learned about the Waqf Saham in Larkin, in Johor Bahru. So with that example, I come across the conclusion that actually Waqf and Islamic capital market have similarity. How do you see it?
I wouldn't say that. It's simply why they use capital market, because there is good regulation in capital market.
But in terms of the saham, which no lasting, is similar with Waqf.
True. No, Waqf can be much more than saham.
Oh yeah,
as you know. So to me, why it's example of using capital market, because there is good regulation in capital market. So that's the truth. So what it is simply telling us is that we need to have good governance. Good regulation for Waqf.
Yeah, betul.
So for example, the core principle that have been developed, but we need to develop more.
Yeah, betul.
We need to develop more so that it gives transparency, it gives trust,
right.
To those people who give Waqf.
And
at the moment, in many countries, we do not have that. We do not have proper regulations. We do not have proper guidelines. We do not have a proper commission, for example. Say, for example, even in Indonesia, cooperative. You have a body that regulates cooperative.
Betul.
For example. So similarly, we need to have a body that regulates Waqf.
Yeah, but when it comes on the connection between Waqf and Islamic Bank, there should be two regulators coming together, Prof. Regulators of Waqf, regulators of Islamic Bank.
Well, it's the same thing in the case, for example, you have banks who are involved in capital market. Right. So the key thing is that you need to have good governance, good regulation, good guidelines that would require reporting. That would require, for example, now we go beyond report. We want impact report. So all these things give trust to the public that yes, it's properly managed, it's properly reported, and I'm willing to give my money. As well.
One of the problem we talk about the human resource, Prof. One of the problem in many cases, I think, in Indonesia is that when they learn Waqf, they learn more on the fake issues, Prof. Whereas, as you mentioned, that they have to be managed. Waqf has to be managed professionally, as business as usual. If you talk about the cash Waqf, then it has to be managed by like treasury managers, things like that, right? So these are the problems. So how do you see that we need to revise the curriculum in the university so that the Nazir, the people who wants to learn Waqf, they should know about the financial portfolio, finance management. How do you see it?
Okay, I mentioned earlier on, just now during the conference, I said this again in 2014, that we should look at Zakat Waqf as economic instruments, financial instruments, rather than religious instrument per se. Of course, it is religious. Nobody is denying that. But it should be beyond that. Which means that it must be economic and financial. So if we acknowledge that, then we need to review our curriculum. The professional management of real estate, the professional management of portfolio management.
Betul.
And then you can really see Waqf Zakat really professionally managed, it's not just a matter of a fiqh matter,
Betul.
halal and haram. It's a matter of if you want to address poverty,
Yeah.
you need economists, development economists.
Development economics.
Yes. How do you address poverty? What are the tools that you need to do?
Yeah.
It's no longer purely halal and haram
Betul.
anymore. Similarly, wakaf, if we want to manage it professionally, become a very powerful instrument to develop the wealth of Muslims, to support different objectives and so on, then wakaf must be managed professionally. Therefore, curriculum would have to change to suit that.
Okay, last question, Prof. How do you see the future of Waqf in Indonesia, particularly in empirical sense, and also for us as within the university on the research side? How do you see it?
See,
The practice and research.
Yeah, from the practice, I see that Indonesia allows much more diversity in terms of wakaf.
Right.
You have Nazir, who are individuals, private, that can manage, which is not available, say, for example, in Malaysia. So Indonesia can develop that further.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think regulation is important.
Regulation,
I think that's
governance, Prof.
the governance and regulation. So this is where the research and the teaching part of the university, the curriculum must look at the whole ecosystem of wakaf. And how do you then bring those into your research, into your curriculum? So you have to do that, because if we really want to push wakaf, as a very powerful instrument, yes. Similarly, what we did for banking, capital market, we need to do the same thing.
Right.
Of course, they will be in Shariah faculty on wakaf issues.
Betul.
They will continue to do that, but on the economic finance part, it must run in parallel.
Okay, Professor Azmi, Alhamdulillah, we have been discussing about the Waqf for 45 minutes almost. But I believe this is very important for us, for the maybe students who are watching this video, my channel, that there are so many things that we need to do in terms of developing Waqf in the research side, in the empirical, in the capacity building, and so on. So, Alhamdulillah, hopefully this give a benefit to you all. Thank you very much, Prof. Azmi.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Terima kasih banyak, Prof.